scheduled meeting of the City of Syracuse Landmark Preservation Board. Today is May 2nd, 2019, and for the edification of all present, I want to remind everybody that due to the mayor's effort at transparency of public meetings, we are live on camera as well as audio. So I'd like to call the meeting to order, and the president of today's meeting are
Dan Leary.
Tom Cantwell.
Don Radke,
Julia Marshall,
Jeff Romano.
Cynthia Carter.
Lisa Tanzi, and Kate Auetter.
and Bob Haley is an excused absence.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to have a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
I have a comment on
Any changes, modifications?
I believe on the second page, I believe it was Cynthia Carter as well as Bob Haley were opposed to the motion I made
Yes.
regarding.
He did, however, he was chairing it, so I think that, is it correct that he does not get a vote?
True.
When he's
Chairman
chairing?
doesn't.
So you don't,
Right,
Unless
so I
it's
don't, so it
break.
didn't count his
Okay.
objection.
all right.
Good call.
Very good. Any other
He's not here, I
changes?
needed to do it for him.
All in favor of accepting the minutes as submitted?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Short and sweet today. Old business.
Sir, I'm fine. Yeah, that was just.
No,
Yeah, we're gonna have a sick section over there.
No, I'm just.
right, I know you have to move it to the top.
Right. Any progress or comment based on the last meeting?
Well, we
Is that
have-
a done situation, and he's just answering our questions, or what?
Oh, no, he's here to
Oh,
answer,
I'm sorry.
yes, yep.
Come on down. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yes, yeah, please do.
And give us your name and address for the record?
My name is Kyle Richards, and 26 South Salina Street.
Okay, so, you were given our comments, and the floor is yours.
All right, so I propose in relation to the comments. I was here Tuesday evening representing Sprint for the same matter with the Planning Commission, and we briefly discussed it. But I'll go over each one again. I believe the first one was relating to the roof line of the steeple of the church structure, and I believe the comment was the antenna should not go higher than the steeple line. It was called the roof line, but it's, I guess, more the top of the steeple.
Mm-hmm.
So the existing antennas do not extend beyond the top of the steeple. I know we were sort of going back and forth on that on Tuesday's meeting, and I sent over some pictures last night in an email to Kate.
Oh, I'm
Kate,
sorry, I
right?
didn't.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, I still have these photos that I handed out last evening. If people want to take a look, this is just a look at what they look like from the ground level, and basically I have some other pictures I could send over or forward along, but the existing antennas do not extend beyond the top of the steeple. I've confirmed that with the engineer. They look like they're right at the top, but I've confirmed that they're not above. They're not protruding above it. The proposed antenna will not either.
Are they a different design, the proposed antenna? Are they a different design, or are they the same as that?
They're different. They're actually considerably different.
They looked like they were smaller, am I correct?
Yes, so the existing are about 54 inches, so they're about 4.5 feet or so in length or in height, and the existing are, I believe, 25 inches, so they're going to be at
The proposed.
Sorry, the proposed. So they're going to be at the same center line, so centered the same as the existing, but they are about half the size, and that was done. That's done by design for Sprint. Obviously, to lessen visual impact, with aesthetics in mind, for the existing building, and the aesthetics in the area. So, proposed antenna are quite smaller than the existing,
Okay.
and they will not go beyond the top of the steeple.
Now, can you show us the placement on the tower of the new ones?
Yes. like in the picture?
We have-
Yeah, if you could
Okay.
show us on the,
We don't have-
we don't have the plans.
We don't-
You
we
know,
don't-
Okay, so I have a copy.
Well, actually, let's back up, one question.
Yeah,
What's on the building right now, those existing antennas, are they all functional, and will they all be functional?
yes, I know that was one of the comments. What's existing is all functional, it's still active, so there's nothing to remove or decommission, in this case, otherwise Sprint would do that. So, yeah,
Are they
there's,
all Sprint equipment?
yes, this is all Sprint equipment. So I can pass these around, but the proposed,
The purpose of the new equipment?
it's basically to enhance the coverage and capacity in the area, so Sprint identified that the area has some issues with, drop calls and, reception
So
issues
there's
for
different
Sprint customers. They're different antennas, they have sort of different capabilities, but ultimately they'll serve to enhance, the performance of people who are Sprint customers. So they'll be, in this case, just trying to get a visual here.
Are they gonna be located then next to the existing?
Yeah, they're gonna be basically side by side.
Okay.
I circled here, this is the proposed view, so they're gonna be pretty much a couple feet away from the existing.
So they're gonna be on the two sides and the rear, not the front?
Yeah, there's nothing in the
There's
front,
a bunch next to the existing.
right, yeah, there's nothing in the front, and there's still gonna be nothing in the front, they're all on the sides and the rear.
The question that the board had last time was, can they be all on the rear?
Yeah,
Because, quite frankly, I don't like where they are on the side. And, the back actually doesn't even have brick, it's, looks like it's a parched surface, and you got a lot of stuff back there, and, or here. In my mind, it would be better if all the antennas were on the back.
right, yeah,
Can that be done?
it really can't be done. Ultimately, if we moved everything to the rear, it would pretty much, greatly lessen or diminish the capability of the site. It would cover like considerably less of the area, so it would basically make the site, almost ineffective. They're obviously strategically positioned where they are to sort of around it.
What is the geographical coverage of these antennas?
It varies by site to site, but it's usually 2 to 3 miles. So,
So 2 to 3 miles in all directions?
yeah, in all directions. Yeah, and so if they were all grouped in one area, so if they're all grouped in the rear, essentially it would only, people wouldn't get coverage. People who have coverage right now wouldn't get coverage, so
Can you put it towards the back, so on each surface, all those side surfaces, you can put it towards the back corner?
do you mean like on a separate part of the church?
No, on the
No,
same
no,
tower,
on the
just
same
tower.
push west from the front
as
facade.
far back
From
from
the
the
front
front
facade.
side.
From the front facade.
I mean, we'd have to look into that, I think,
Sounds like you have minimum distances that are required
yeah,
between each.
there are minimum distances, that's,
Right, but if you're trying to direct it in the various different directions, having it towards the back, you're still going 2 miles out, which, it's not my preview to understand the electronics of it, but you're saying that we can't put it on the back surface because you need the coverage in
Right.
the 3 different directions. So if you've got it on the 3 different surfaces, does it truly make a difference if you're 2 feet back from the existing antenna as opposed to towards the front of the building? So I'm saying towards that pilaster, so that it aligns with that.
It's my understanding, though, that you do not plan to move the existing?
yeah, there's no plans to move the
Right,
existing.
so all I'm saying is put it towards the back.
I'm just thinking that if they're not gonna move the existing and they're gonna bunch them up next to each other?
Yeah, that's not what we're proposing, but
Oh,
One of them seems to be, if I remember correctly, one seems to be towards the front of the tower, and on the opposite side, it's on the back, towards the back of the tower. And I think we're just wondering, can't they both be towards the back of the tower? Not on the back of the tower, but towards the back of the tower.
Yeah,
Exactly,
aligning
yes.
the pilaster back here, it's not in
I
the
mean,
lawn.
we could explore moving the existing antenna, if that's,
No, we're not talking about even moving that. What we're talking about, here's your existing one.
Here,
Here,
on the,
Yeah.
on the
what
larger,
I'm saying is, this is the front face of the tower, and this is the back face.
right.
Here's your existing. Can we put the antenna
New
here
antenna.
towards
The
this
new
back
antenna.
corner, you've got one, the new one would be
Right,
here,
instead of-
new one here.
The other way.
Right, because the viewpoint from the street looking up, it would be better as opposed to putting it here, or even bunching it up, because quite frankly, I don't really like that it's there. It should have been towards the back of the.
In the beginning,
Yeah.
right.
I think, we can certainly look into that and see if that can be done from a, radio frequency standpoint, see if that will essentially cover the needs.
Okay, our jurisdiction again is to comment, so,
So that's not.
yeah, so
Kate, are you
that's,
getting this?
that's a collective
Yeah.
comment.
That's a collective, yeah.
And the other, what color will be the casing?
They would be painted to match what's existing, so they would be painted, this is like sort of an orangish color.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think
Is the paint something that is required? I mean, I'd almost want them to paint the whole existing and new,
Painted the brick color.
the
Yeah,
color of the
I know
brick.
that comment was made on Tuesday, and I think we could probably accommodate a better, more,
Match the.
Match the
more
brick.
matching color,
Yeah.
bricking.
All of the existing. and
Orange
new.
really stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably done a few years back, in the previous
Yeah,
upgrade.
take the darker color. of the
Yeah,
brick.
pick up the darker
Pick up.
color of the brick.
Okay, yeah, we can work with, the engineers and the construction team to see, what would be more, palatable and
Okay,
more blending
okay.
in.
Kate, do you have
Yeah.
a comment?
I think, so it's, move the new ones as far back on the tower as
From
it can.
Salina Street.
Yeah,
From
just
Salina
from
Street, from the
Salina
front,
Pilasters, the rear
Yep.
pilasters.
So basically just
and
move
also
them
paint,
closer to the rear,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
that's basically, just,
on the two sides.
on the two sides,
Yeah.
just move
Okay.
them,
Yeah, the
move them
north
further
and south
back.
side of the tower.
And when you
Move
paint
them
them,
back
paint
as
them
well.
all.
Right, okay,
Paint them all and select the darker brick color.
okay. I just need to confirm that can be accommodated, but I
Yeah,
think
no,
in,
that's what we
in
would
theory
ask.
that,
Okay.
Doesn't
Get
seem
back
like
to
a
Kate with
difference.
what you're gonna do, but that's gonna be our comments.
Yeah.
okay,
Okay,
okay, thank you.
thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Can we keep these or?
You guys can keep them if you want, and this was yours.
Here, I'll take those. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, no new business. Discussion, CA-1901, M1, 104 Hampshire Road, modification. I don't know if we've ever seen this applicant before.
Spray paint can, so we should be all set.
Oh, good.
How's everybody today? So I'm just looking for a point of clarification, Sean Patney, 104 Hampshire Road. I'm just looking for a point of clarification on the freeze board, to be honest with you. We had a little discussion here, and there was a solid freeze board, and then there was discussion about breaking it up into a couple sections. And I just wanted to share with you.
Bless you.
Two things, bless you. Kids want to talk about this. As I went to talk to material suppliers, it was kind of like, this freeze board's huge, and we can't really get one piece, and do you really want it this big? So there's a lot of second guessing, number one.
Sure.
And so what I did was I just took a couple seconds, and I know you guys have got some drawings from before, and I'm gonna just ask you to share them if you would.
Sure.
This was the original, drawing and scale, which was the narrower freeze
Yep.
board as it was drawn by the architect. And then this is kind of the scale of the wider freeze board that goes down and contacts the windows. And so there's actually 2 points of discussion on this for me, aside from the materials, is do we like it or not? And the other one is, the house actually, I've got one more. The house actually, the freeze board on the house is actually painted body color.
Right.
It's not painted trim color. And the reason for that is our soffits are about this wide.
Right.
And so if we went with soffits this wide and then a freeze board this wide, it becomes a pretty massive trim color up there. And that's why when we painted the house, it was actually prior to us, it was also painted body color as well. And the garage currently has a freeze board on it that touches the windows. It's also painted body color.
And this freeze board and this width is not within.
It's not available, but it doesn't mean we can't make it out of something else. It's just, we can't,
Yeah, what's the
it's
dimension?
almost, it's 17 inches.
Oh, that's wide.
It's that big. Because the soffits are at 10, the top of the windows are at 8. So we pushed the windows up as far as we could. The top of the windows were already at 8 feet to match the garage door opening.
Yep.
So I can't push the windows up any higher, it's gonna look weird.
Yep.
So that was that, and then this is kind of the end view of the wider version. And it looks extensively ridiculous here because it's just shown as plain old white, and it obviously would be body color, so I'm not suggesting that it was an improper call to make it wide. It is gonna be body color, so it's not gonna be that proud. It's just a question that, you know,
What's the depth of the overhang?
the overhang on the garage, the house is 24, the garage will be 20. Yep, almost 20.
I think it was an improper call to make it wide. I like the narrow one.
The narrow is better.
I agree.
So we're good with this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a standard 6 or 8 inch
Yeah.
hardy board. It's readily available. I know how to put it up.
Thanks for doing this.
Okay,
All right,
that's great.
that's all. And I rescind my color change then.
Okay.
I will send probably mail.
Orange.
Parts in that garage been
Yeah.
Oh, it's possible. I do have a 20-year-old.
I'll send you a modification form, it's just for your signature, and then we can make it official, but we do actually, if we could have a vote on that.
Sure.
Someone make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the, narrower freeze board, which was approximately
6 to 8 inches.
6 to 8 inches, in lieu of the 17-inch freeze board.
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
It's coming along pretty good. A lot of quotes, a lot of stuff, so we're excited.
We all get to go and
Big garage party.
drive all your cars.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to sell them all to pay for this, so.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, any other business?
Let's see.
Must be one of the shorter meetings, all right?
On record, yeah, I just wanted to say that there are some, how do I, a couple things. First of all, there are some issues, for example, with, in Sedgwick, for example, on, what is it, 15 Brattle, or which one? No,
The one on the corner?
The one on the corner that.
15 Brattle.
It's 15 Brattle that has been long vacant.
Oh,
and
no,
is-
that's 12 Brattle.
12 Brattle
Yeah.
that's being vandalized, and they're gonna have to send in, they're gonna have to do a board up.
Oh, my God.
I think, and so the question is how that can be done without damaging, that, I don't know if anyone here has had experience with proper preservation, proper board ups. But
My experience, the best thing is to screw it. It's
Yeah.
supposed to nail,
Okay,
and screw it into the wood, it can be repaired. And I would paint the wood the same color as the trim. So you don't have air plywood.
yeah.
How permanent is this?
My understanding is it's tied up in the courts, isn't it? Is that, yeah. Yeah.
Probably screw it into the, not the, is it clapboard or?
It's a combination.
I think it's.
It's cedar shingle and
And
siding.
one of
Screw
them,
it into the trim,
Absolutely.
not the
Okay.
shingle.
so they're gonna board the entire house up.
No, it's just probably the first one.
Usually they
probably
just
just
do
the
the first
first
floor.
floor.
But you can get to the second floor easily. Any kid can
Yes, you can.
go up the porch lattice and in
Yeah.
through the roof.
And just mention that it
that a
should be stainless steel screws,
Right.
Okay, sorry,
stainless steel screws into the, trim.
And if there is access to the second floor, just do those windows that are
Adjacent to the.
Yeah.
adjacent to them.
Entry point. Well, it's just
They're
like
gonna do windows
217
and doors.
Highland too.
They'll do windows and doors.
No bare plywood.
It's the one on the corner, the
Sits
big
on-
one on,
sits
sits up
on-
on top.
Yeah, and apparently the,
beautiful.
the porch has really rotted through, and that's one of the problems too, is that someone's gonna get hurt. The kids are up there on the porch. Codes is aware, and the bank who owns the property is the one that will send in the board up
Fixer,
company, and that's, and what I'm trying to get to is that company and or that bank to
That
try to
should come
direct,
from zoning to that.
yeah, or codes, yeah, yeah.
Nobody knows exactly who these kids are.
There's kids from the neighborhoods or.
They're
they're out-
neighborhood kids?
Well, they're in that area, yeah,
Pass
from
through.
the school and that live in the area, they pass through.
Changing groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a no play,
So
no.
this house doesn't fall within the purview of the task force, the vacant properties
And
task force?
the problem is where it is within the process. Yes, it
Oh.
certainly is within it is
But
a
it's not a
property that
priority.
the task force, but there isn't much that the city can do. I think that's the problem.
New York
is-
is what's called a judicial state when it comes to distress and foreclosed sales. And, we've got a foreclosure that we're working on in our company. It's been a foreclosure for 8 years.
Oh, my.
Well,
And it can commonly go 3 and 4 years. It's just the process in New York State, and it's a long one.
Yeah, yeah, and this one has a pretty tortured history in terms of someone going in to purchase it, my understanding is, and then it got vandalized before the purchase offer, you know, before the closing,
Before the
and
closing.
now who is responsible for that vandalism, and
It's
it's
tough.
just, it's a really tough situation. Another piece of information, with the DEIS, I am going to be on a committee from the city that will be reviewing doing sort of the internal, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the I-81 DIS.
Yeah. That was my question.
And I will be focusing specifically on the historic preservation aspects of the, and other from that, the survey, the North Side survey is coming along, and actually I'm talking to these guys afterwards
Any
about that.
further update on the zoning legislation in that process?
Yeah, there's actually going to be, fairly shortly, in the next few weeks, and you'll get an invitation, to come and, listen to a presentation by the consultants, on the entire rezone, and then there'll be question and answer, and it's going to, I believe they're going to be combining, the planning commission, LPB and BZA together in one meeting, which I think
What about
might
the
be
common
interesting.
council?
Yeah, Common Council get their own, their own presentation, and then it goes to comment, and the Common Council will get a draft.
I would suggest that we consider asking the common council to be at this presentation also.
I can, and,
With the
Okay.
LPB and.
Logistically.
Yeah.
okay,
Wow.
I think it'd be important that they hear a second time then, but that they also hear any comments made by their sister agencies
okay,
and entities,
yeah, all right,
if at all
okay,
possible.
yep, no, I'll mention that to
I'm
Owen.
gonna attend, but I think that would be
Yeah.
a very wise thing for us to do.
mandatory.
It should be mandatory.
Yeah, anyway,
Okay?
And one other question,
yeah,
has there been any movement, what's the status on the building sort of diagonally across from St. Joseph's?
yeah, North Stacy,
425 North, yeah.
yeah, the Angelora building. So Sheila Weed, who is the architect for the owner, said it was going to take her a few weeks, but she was pulling together a conditions report as well as some basic history for the LPB to look at. Based on that information, that'll be just as we did for the Walnut property. I'll most likely take that information to turn it into an application if it goes that far, so.
Before we adjourn, we have a couple of guests. You just here observing, questions or?
For school.
So, well, this is an unusually short meeting, so. You guys could say it lasted for hours.
Hours, that's right, yeah.
Okay, with that motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Okay, I'll second that.
Favor?